And one of those, I guess the prioritization step, you introduced a sub-framework, an acronym for kind of testing the idea to see if it's something worth prioritizing. The acronym is DESIRE.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about it. I also want to call out that you didn't use RICE, which is a acronym used in product, but like sometimes also comes into these conversations. So on a personal note, I was curious if you played with using RICE, and maybe you could explain what RICE is.
Sure.
And then I want to talk about DESIRE.
Sure. I guess just take one more step back, that I want to make another contrast to what traditional learning organizations are doing versus modern learning organizations. And I say this with love because I think this is all done from the goodness of people's hearts. But a lot of that, I said the fundamental unit is this hour-long thing. A lot of the ways people get to that hour-long thing and which one it's going to be is there's some kind of professional development committee or the kind of people that run the lunch and learns or the forums, and they look for volunteers. Like, we have a slot, coming up in April. Does anyone have anything cool they want to share? And if Susan is available and has something she wants to talk about, that's what gets talked about. And then the same thing for May and the same thing for June. So we follow kind of an ad hoc discovery of what should be taught and are dependent on the enthusiasm and the whims and the schedules of who's available to teach. And I think that has served firms it's not like it's been bad, but I think when firms figure out where they're trying to go, this kind of business challenge I talk about around, you've got all these emerging professionals, you want them to get to be a job captain or a project manager or a senior engineer faster than would have happened just by going through the old apprenticeship process. You have to become more intentional about picking and choosing which learning opportunities you invest in. And that's, I think, the shift, that's starting to happen. So it's like, okay, well, how do you evaluate these opportunities in a somewhat rigorous, fair, non-biased way? And that's where I think these frameworks, so you mentioned RICE, so it stands for reach, impact, confidence, and then it's divided by effort. That's spelling out the acronym. That's like the standard product management framework. I definitely took some of the things. So I took the R and the I and the E. So the reach is basically how many people will this affect? So we mentioned onboarding before. Onboarding touches everybody. Project management training doesn't touch everybody, but it touches a lot of people. And NEC firms are constantly creating new project managers. That's a thing you're going to be doing 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now. So reach is a thing. The I for impact helps you balance, okay, so we know it's going to hit X number of people with reach, but does it really move the needle? Is this something that will teach them a foundational skill they're going to need to do their job better? Or is this kind of like nice to have? It's like, oh yeah, it's kind of like, cool, I'm glad I know that. Almost like edutainment to some degree.
I played between reach and impact, and I think strategy ends up here too, is new employee onboarding, where your reach, I don't know, if you're only onboarding 5 employees this year, or if you're onboarding 5 employees this year, low reach, over time, high reach, but like in the immediate, low reach, but huge impact, huge strategic alignment.
Yep. Teaching project managers to be better at it, not throwing them to the wolves, and to understand the way the firm does project management, big impact, right? And so you can go down the line of, so this thing will, if we do this and we do it well, it will move the needle. So what you're getting at is, and the way that it's written is the reach times impact times strategy times enthusiasm times demand is the numerator, and you're going to divide that by effort. So you're kind of, as you're going along reach and impact, you're building a top line score, right? Yeah. So strategy, that one's probably the most obvious. It's like, how well does this thing we're develop align with where the firm is headed? So for example, if a big strategic initiative for the firm is we need to improve quality, like, is this aligned with quality improvement? Cool. If we're trying to move into doing more planning work or consulting work on the front end of our projects, is this moving us towards building capacity to do more planning and strategy work? So that's a good variable. And you ask why I kind of moved away from RICE. RICE doesn't speak to strategy, so I felt like that was a super important thing that was missing. It doesn't speak to the next two either. It doesn't speak to enthusiasm. And I think to me, that's an important thing. It's like, who's going to teach this and how motivated and excited are they about the material? Or are you just going to be like pulling them through the mud to have them do it? Are they going to be voluntold to teach this, or are they going to be excited? So that's a variable. And the last one is demand. It's like, do people want to learn this? Now, sometimes people have to learn things they don't necessarily want to learn. There's some compliance courses we all go through. We don't wake up on Wednesday saying, you know what I want to do? Cybersecurity training. But sometimes demand's not that relevant. But you can also say, look, we're talking to our junior people in the lunchroom, or project managers are saying people really want to learn how to do XYZ skills. So like demand is a factor. So that's a kind of a balanced scorecard, if you will, of the kind of reach, impact, strategy, enthusiasm, and demand. And then the big thing you do is you divide that by effort. So how hard is this going to be for us to move the ball up the hill, like in order to make this thing?